there are no guarantees. Like this is such a high risk industry. It's such a high risk profession, right? That you gotta know the downsides of it going in. So if you're a student, I don't know, get some of that tuition money back and buy a camera. Are we speeding? Yes or no?
We're speeding. So
okay,
3,
good.
2, 1, go.
But but this happens all the time. Like you think things are going and things are not going.
Right.
There are times like I'm at my home and I'm like doing the YouTube stuff that I'll do a whole thing, and then it's like, oh, that light was off, or the camera wasn't rolling, or the sound was off. It takes you a while to just get into that mode of like you're doing most of the things by yourself.
Well, let me start with this, because this is a nice way to introduce the question that I've never thought to ask you.
Ask now or forever hold your peace.
Right. Like after what, we've known each other a year at least, almost 2 years.
I've been back in Providence for about 3. Actually, it's been 3 years. Believe it or not.
Time is flying.
It's flying so
COVID
fast.
time.
So I know, fast.
So this is the question I never thought to ask you when we first met, and that's, how did you get into film? What drew you to it? Was there a predecessor medium?
There's 2 answers to that. You got to warm me up for the real answer, because I think that there's a thing that you're like driven to do, and then there's all the other reasons why I want to do something, because maybe it's like, you think it's cool, or because you think it's, you'll be able to tell some stories, and there's a more personal, deeper answer, But so let me give you the surface one first. I think I got into film because I was in LA and I was working. I was doing the same thing everybody was doing. I was going to auditions. I was, doing that kind of stuff. And you see how few opportunities you have, how little control you have of your career, or even not even a career, of what your next job is going to be or the next paycheck's going to be. And for me, that was no reason, or there was no way to live, right? Like I wanted to do more than that.
You came to LA to be an actor.
I went to LA to be an actor. So I went to LA, and I went to LA because I found a teacher that I liked. So who happens to be from Rhode Island, like the best teacher in LA, right?
It's a Rhode Island moment.
It's a Rhode Islander, right? So there is a Rhode Island representation in LA that's very significant. So I went there and I studied with them, and it was great. That's how I met everybody. I met a bunch of other actors. That's how I met everybody in LA. Everybody I knew in LA was an actor.
I always say there's no better way to meet people than through the acting community.
Yeah.
Because they instantly magnetize to each other.
To each other, yeah. Because I think it's like we are so, like if you're not in it, it's so foreign to a lot of people, because they either think it's cool or they think it's weird, or everybody has an opinion about it. Mm-hmm. But that can be very ostracizing for the actual actor, because you never really, like if you don't, like I almost feel like you can have all this, let's say, theater background, but like if people don't know you from like a TV show, oh, this is a loser, and I mean, like, he's no good, and that's not true. There's like, I know so many amazing actors in LA who don't have jobs, right? Who don't have like a platform, and they've been in class for a very long time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we gravitate towards each other because it's like, first of all, we can talk shop, and there's that particular school had a very specific way of training. So.
But why acting?
I don't know. It comes. I don't know.
So to backtrack, born in Brazil, grew up largely in
Rhode Island,
yeah.
Yeah. So I came to Rhode Island when I was about 12 or 13, something like that.
Was there sort of an aha moment, like an audition that you fell into, or a community theater production, or something that won you over?
So I grew up watching movies and knowing that I wanted to do that. Like I saw that, I was like, I wanted to do that. Mm-hmm. That is the coolest thing, right? Like, so it was life throws you a bunch of curveballs, right? And that's the thing. Like it's gonna
especially for actors.
Especially for actors, But it's always gonna try to knock you down, and then you can get lost in other things, like oh, maybe I'll just do a business, maybe I'll do something else. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're like, nobody wants to become an actor. You either are or you're not. Mm-hmm. Like it's part of who you are. Because you see a lot of people going to class and they're like, oh, I want to be famous, I want to do this, I want to do that. Mm-hmm. But they're not real actors. They're not really storytellers. They just want to be famous. Mm-hmm. And that's a very different thing than being an actor, right? If you want to learn the craft, that's very different than just wanting to be on TV.
So how did you make that leap then from, this is something you love, to breaking the ice on LA?
Well, but that's...
It's a bold move.
It's a bold move. And it's a move that if you think about it retrospectively, you're always going to be like, oh, I could have done it a little differently. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you're always like, oh, maybe I should have done it this way, or oh, if I knew this. And you're always screwed if you think that way, right? Because if you're thinking backwards, you're never going to go forward.
Have you been to LA before?
I've been there before I went to the class, right? So I went there to audit the class and to see if there were other business opportunities, because I had a business here that I wanted to bring to LA with me. And I wanted to see if I could pick up some clients there so I could make the move softer, financially. And then what happened was it really became like I fell in love with the school. One of the problems if you're not in a center like LA or New York, it's extremely difficult to find good training. And I didn't want to get trained like in a bad way. You know what I mean? Because what happens is, like, if your training is off, right, your craft is going to be off. So when I went to LA and I studied, I watched the class, I'm like, that's where I want to be as an actor. Because there's no baloney, there was no fakeness, there was just everything that I wanted to do. It's very honest, right?
Let me ask you this, if it's all right, because there's sort of a spectrum of acting training, from the sort of almost like vaudeville style expressionist,
sure,
sort of theatricality, all the way over to the sort of like Nick Cage style, method, sure, in your head kind of
I think that word is misused a lot.
Yes, I agree, but sure, there is a spectrum in between. Was there a flavor to this training that really spoke?
Yeah, I think are you familiar with Uta Hagen?
Yes, yeah.
So it's all Uta Hagen-based
The actor
training.
prepares, right?
The actor prepares, right. So that's mandatory reading where I went, so you have to read that. She did 2 books. This is the second book. Respect for Acting, I think, is the second book. I don't know, it's one of them. But the second one is the one that we had to read, and we studied that, and that was what we practiced.
But it's very sense memory oriented, right?
Right. It's like, you drawing from past experiences, you try to be as authentic as possible. Mm-hmm. You don't judge the character. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay for the audience to judge a character, but it's not okay for you to do that. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, you have to be the advocate for your character, whether or not he's a good person or a bad person. That doesn't matter to you. If you're gonna play it, you have to be in it. You have to live in that skin. A lot of sensory training as far as the Uta Hagen exercises. If a coffee cup is hot, you gotta, even though it's not. You know what I mean?
Right.
That kind of thing. But I think the thing that I struggled the most with when I started there was that because I had some training here, very little training here, and I had an idea of what acting was, mm-hmm, right? You come with all these pre-shaped things to training, mm-hmm, but they beat it out of you really fast, right? Like, they're like, you can't do that, that's awful, stop. So that's why even when I do YouTube now, even though like I kind of play a version of myself it's more extravagant or whatever, which it's so fun to do, but I try to be as authentic as I can be.
But in a way, it's the Carnival Barker version of yourself.
It's a Carnival, yes. It's the Carnival version of me.
It's you plus exclamation points, right?
Yes, yeah. And the thing about it is, like, I try, because, when we're doing this stuff, like, I have like a script, and I never wanted to like. I want it to be so authentic that it's like I'm talking to you, right? Like you're the guy on the other side of the camera, and I'm, trying to grab your attention right now. That's what I try to do. But sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
This is the last dead horse beating I'll do on this topic, and then we can move on to filmmaking. But I guess.
Listen, but here's the thing. I'm not trying to avoid it. This is like there's so many layers to it.
Oh no, absolutely. It's been your life and career. But I guess what just struck me as you were talking is that you've made some very significant geographic moves in your life. But not only from one country to another, but from one language to another, and then to another coast, and then back. These are not small moves. This isn't like I lived in New Hampshire and I moved to Maine. Like, so do you think that was an asset for you as you were studying this sort of very preparatory acting technique?
Well, they used to say in school, the only reason why you live is so you can know what to do when you're acting, right? Because these are the people that I'm. By the way, these are how hardcore these people are. So just so you know, but everything prepares you. This conversation prepares me for something else that eventually I might do, or something that eventually I might write. That's where I think if you're gonna look at that. Everything does. The good things that happen in your life, the bad things. They used to say, you're really into it when like something fucked up happens in your life, and you're like, oh, good, this is good material for me to do that scene on this play. But there's a part of you that thinks that. It's,
everything is copy.
Everything is good.
Yeah, totally.
Everything is, and in a way, I try to apply that to YouTube and to my filmmaking career as well. Because you can take, right, like you can say, okay, well, I don't have a $1 million budget to make a movie, right? But I know this guy, and this guy has a house, and that guy has a car, and I can get these cameras, and I can put sound together. Okay, well, let's do with that. That's how the documentary kind of started. It was like, who is close to me, and they have stories that I care about, right? That I can go and say, okay, well, I can talk to you. And I can talk to you, and and if I'm a strong believer that like everybody's interesting in a way, but everybody also, most people have this mask, right? Oh, I'm gonna whatever, right? But the reality is like you are super interesting, right? I'm interesting.
Well, thank you.
Well, it's true, right? And so if I was going to do a documentary, if I was going to interview you and have a conversation with you, I'm sure there are going to be things that I'm going to find out about you that are very interesting. To you, you'd be like, oh, I did that yesterday.
Right.
I take the kids every day. It's not a big deal. But it's not.
Parisians never see the Eiffel Tower.
That's right.
Right.
Exactly. So I think that, I wrote a script about Stud Sterkel. I think you and I talked about Stud Sterkel a few times.
Right.
And that's the kind of work they used to do. Like the book Working was all about him meeting somebody, and it's like, oh, let's talk about your job.
It's that everyman documentarian.
Everyman documentarian.
Right. Everybody's got a story.
Absolutely, and that's kind of like how I. That's kind of like how I did that.
Well, let's talk about that pivot then, because so there's a theater company in Pittsburgh that I love and loved working with called bricolage, and I had never heard the term before, but bricolage apparently means using what's around you, what's at hand. So you have these people, you have this talent, you have this stuff, you have these locations, you can sort of draw them all together. What it sounded like was that you were not, well, you were training as an actor, you were trying to get work as an actor,
right?
But you were trying to broaden
things out. And so to go back to the original question, this is going to be all messed up, by the way.
Perfect.
But
that's what nonlinear is for, right?
That's right.
Thank you, George Lucas.
There you go. So I guess what happened is you go into like, let's put it this way. I wanted to do film, right? I wanted to be in movies. And if the opportunity wasn't there, I also look at the work of Sylvester Stallone, who I think is a very underrated actor, right? All the success that he has, I think, is well worth it. It's well earned. But I think he's even better than what people give him credit for. Rocky's amazing, right? The first Rocky's like, an amazing movie. And back then to do that back then was like almost impossible, right? Like today, like we can possibly do stuff, together. But so that's how it started. It started with like, actors need a demo reel. Okay, well, how do you get a demo reel? Well, you gotta get into a movie set, and then you gotta get the footage from it. Well, that takes forever. So like if we do it ourselves, if you learn how to do it, or if we put some money together and hire a guy who knows how to do it, then you have it, and then you go forward. So it's like a lot of it's like trying to find out how to get to the next step. So like when I did my short film in LA, I didn't want to direct. I tried to give it away to a bunch of people, and directing was not something I wanted. I was like, I can barely act in this thing, and focus on that, and that's going to be enough. But I found out that like movies are a director medium more than anything else. More than if the theater is the ultimate actor's medium, because once you're up there, right, the director can't do much. He can just tell you after or before, but he can't do anything to the scene.
And equity forbids a director from giving notes after the
Really?
first night.
I didn't even know that.
So it is out of their hands.
It's out of their hands. So it's very much a director, very much an actor's medium. But movies are not. Movies are very much director-centric because you can cut this thing and make it look like a comedy. You can cut this thing and make it look like a horror movie. You can color grade it differently. There's so much ways that you can manipulate the footage. I don't know. I felt the necessity to direct once I gave the script to other people, and every single person had a different movie in mind that I did. It's almost like the script was a secondary thing, and they wanted to do whatever they wanted to do. And like, and we're gonna say these words over here.
Now, I've seen this short film and really enjoyed it. And it was, I'm wondering if through the process of directing, like, did you fall in love with it? Like, was there a transition? It sounds like you were very reluctant to direct it.
Reluctant to do it, yeah.
Now you're...
Yeah, doing it all the time, every day. I was, man. I didn't want to do it. I don't know, like I always wanted to act, and I still do. And that's why, like, even now with the YouTube stuff, like, I really love talking to the camera and trying to be the carnival version of me. But there's also like the intros that I like to do, and they're more like cinematic in a way. And that's I don't know. I really enjoy that part, even though it takes so long to do it.
So this is interesting. If you had landed a lead in a Showtime show,
I'd probably do it for a little bit, but I would not give up on YouTube. I would not stop doing this because I see the more I do it, the more I see the upside to it.
But I mean, early in your SoCal career, if you had landed that big role, you wouldn't be doing cinematography at all.
No, not at all. Yeah. So it's like, it's one of those things like you learn it out of necessity. And I think that's something that actors, first of all, no actor should be taking advice from me, right? You do your own thing. But if you have, what I thought was like, okay, well, let me learn the skills necessary in order to put this thing together. Because, unlike a script, unlike a, like a song, you can't, I guess you could write a song and perform it yourself, but like you can make a movie with cast and perform it yourself. I guess you could. Some people have done it, but it's difficult.
But it would be like a Survivor Man thing.
It's not a Survivor.
That would be the shtick. It's like the whole thing you're thinking as you're watching it is, wow, this guy did it on his own.
Yeah.
That's like at least 50% of the experience.
But learning cinematography, But learning cinematography, learning to run sound, learning to do these things, it's also out of like this sense of survival. Because it was very real. Like, okay, if I don't know how to do this, I either have to do something else to get the money to pay for somebody to do this, and it's not going to come out as good as I want it to. Anyways.
Right, totally.
Or I have to learn how to do it. So I don't know, it came from that. And to touch back in one of the things you said before is like that move to LA, that geographical jump. There is a big culture difference between LA and Rhode Island, right? It's a different country. We just have the same money and we speak the same language, kind of. but it's a different world there, and it's not. It's different. Like you have to adjust to a lot of things, like how. Well, thank you. How people interact with each other, the expectations that they have, how do you approach certain situations is different. How you conduct business is different, and that took a while.
How long when you made that transition to start learning the more technical side of filmmaking to when you moved to Rhode Island? Like how long was that period?
So I think it took me a good 3 or 4 years, maybe longer. I don't know. I would say that everything I know now. So we did the movie in 2017. The movie came out in 2018. So what is that? 5 years? 4 years? Right? 5 years. So.
And it's not like there's a starting line where you're like.
Right. You always pick a little bit here and there. But when I bought my first camera, I didn't know how to turn it on. I knew how to turn it on. I didn't know how to set exposure. I didn't know anything. Everything I know is within the last 5 years from a technical filmmaking standpoint.
These past 5 years?
These past 5 years.
That's quite the learning curve.
Yeah.
That's quite the crash course.
Yes.
Yeah.
That movie that I made, the short film that I made, failed 3 times. The first day was a disaster. I fired everybody and had to start again. And then we ran out of time on the second time, and then we had to go back to. So we shot it for 20 days. It's like a 20-day shoot.
Holy moly!
People shoot feature films with that,
right?
For that amount of time.
But they have all the resources and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that movie was my film school. YouTube has been my ongoing education because, the thing about it now is like, when I went to LA, you had to be there to learn this stuff, right? Cameras, lenses, how to put the stuff together. You have to be there because you wouldn't even know what you don't know. Right? You don't know the difference between a zoom and a prime. You don't know the difference between the f-stop and t-stop. Like you don't know any of this stuff, and you don't even know how to ask. But now, because of YouTube, because of the internet, you're exposed to this information from here, for example, right? So, when you talk about the benefits of being in Rhode Island, the benefits are, it's a lower cost of living. You have amazing locations. Because the thing about Rhode Island is because it's so, like most people don't even know where Rhode Island is. Right, and that's not saying anything bad about Rhode Island. That's an assessment on the American educational system, okay? Because they should, but most people don't. So when you're filming something here, it could be Europe, it could be New York, it could be anywhere, right? It could be like a magical place, because most people are like, well, I don't know what that is. So in their minds, it's like it's different, right? Downtown is very cinematic. And I think people who live here who never left don't realize how cinematic it is. Because I didn't realize it when I was here. And then when I came back, I was like, wow, this building is awesome. Like, you don't have anything like that in LA,
So remind me why you ended up spending some time in Rhode Island after LA.
So it's really because it was before COVID. It was like a year before COVID hit. And I had finished Help Wanted. I had finished the movie, and I wanted to come back to. I wanted to do the documentary, right? And let me backtrack a little bit. I wanted to do a feature film, and I said, if I do documentary work before that, I'm gonna get really good at filming. So part of the documentary stuff is completely selfish, right? It's like I want to get better at the craft, and the only way to do it is to do it.
And it's a showcase, right?
And it's a showcase.
Yeah.
So I started to work on that, and I started in LA. One of the subjects in the documentary is in LA. But very quickly you realize that you have, because LA is such a bubble, you have this LA point of view. And then everybody in the documentary is going to have the LA point of view, which is fine if it's 1 or 2 people. But if it's everybody, that wasn't going to work for me. So I said, I can go back to Rhode Island for a bit. I know I can film there easier, and it's been great for that, because people have been more open to me here than in LA. Because in LA it was like, oh, you're a filmmaker, I'm a filmmaker, he's a filmmaker, that guy's a screenwriter. Like everybody is doing it. So they don't really care, right? But here is more of a novelty. So like doors open because it was new to the people and people were interested in the topics I wanted to talk about. They were interested in telling their stories because it's really about that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so it's been great. It's been absolutely great. So, it hasn't all been Rhode Island. It has been New York, it's been Miami, Maine, Arizona. It's been like all these other places. But because I'm here, and because it's cheaper, it's because like things are easier here, I was able to get a little bit further ahead. Versus if I was hitting my head against the wall in LA trying to get permits and trying to do this and you know what I mean? LA can be a lot of red tape in order to get just the easiest things, simplest things done.
A lot of it is standardized, but not always in the director's favor, especially for an indie film. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it was one of the LaPlace brothers who said, if you wanted to be an actor, go to LA. If you want to be a filmmaker, go someplace else. Because you can film anywhere. I mean, this is going to air, right, potentially anywhere in the world, and anybody can see it on YouTube, but also a movie that you shoot here can be sold in LA.
Right.
So you don't have to make it there, right? In a business sense, it actually makes all the sense in the world to make a movie somewhere else, finish it, and then bring it to LA and then sell it there. Because you have to sell it there.
So what a number of folks have told me, and I sort of anticipated this, but COVID notwithstanding, there's sort of a consensus that if you can make it work to be based in Rhode Island and can get yourself to shoots across the country, that's in many ways the ideal situation. If you like it here, headquarter here, and then make yourself mobile to film wherever
to film
the
other
work
places,
is.
yeah. It's definitely, like, in businesses, there's this thing called geography arbitrage, right? Like, you live where it's cheap and you sell things where it's expensive, right? Like, you wanted to use that in your advantage. Mm-hmm. So that's basically what you just mentioned, right? Like, you can live here, have access to this wonderful scenery and sell it somewhere else. There is no perfect place, though. So these are the benefits of being here. The disadvantages of being here is that it's harder to find crew that want to do things. I'm lucky that I found a couple of guys who are helping me out now, and hopefully we grow the channel together and we'll make it bigger. But it's a tougher sell because, like I said, that thing where everybody's a filmmaker in LA, everybody's an actor. Nobody is an actor here. There's a few, but it's a very small percentage of the population. In LA is like
likely far less serious for the majority of actors.
Exactly. Right? They're gonna do it one day when the kids grow up, and you know what I mean. It's someday I'm gonna do it, or I had this dream that one day I wanted to do this, but I never did. And there you have people who are like, no, this is life and death. I need to do this. Mm-hmm. So you get like amazing people, you know what I mean, that want to be part of what you want to do, you know what I mean?
So do you still consider making this feature film?
I do. It's a trilogy, actually, but yeah, I do. The thing about it is that...
Go big or... Well, I guess you're already home, but...
But this is the problem. See, and this is the problem for filmmakers, too. Is that we tend to make movies, or write movies, that we can't afford to shoot ourselves. And I think that's a problem, right? Because what happens is, if you can, we can shoot a movie this month, right? I have enough equipment. I know I have the knowledge to do it. The problem becomes when it's a spaceship, when it's this and it's that. I don't have the knowledge to do that yet. And I don't know if I want to spend the time to acquire the knowledge necessarily. I don't want to sit there and maybe learn how to do After Effects or something like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you can afford to do the thing, if you can write it and afford to do it, then absolutely. I got to the point that I'm in the end of the script, and I'm kind of like, God, there's no way I can finish this. No way I can shoot this now. So I kind of I'm going to incriminate myself here and say that I haven't looked at the script in a while. But yeah, I want to do it. But I also think that there's this concept of sequence, right? Where like, if Jeff Bezos started today, if his first venture was like, I'm gonna go to the moon or space or wherever he went, it would fail, right? He had to sell books on Amazon first. And Amazon, as big as it is now, books was the first thing. So there's a sequence to things. And I think like sometimes like YouTube could be that sequence. Here's the number one problem I see with anybody. This is with any actor, with any filmmaker, this is the number one problem. The number one problem is that they don't have an audience. It's not even talent, right? Because, and assuming they will develop their talent, assuming that they're gonna study and work, if you had 1 million people following you and you had something to sell, you can make a living. You can sell a movie. You can get people to come to watch it. So the problem becomes like, it's not even a distribution problem anymore. We don't have a distribution problem anymore. We have a marketing problem. We have an audience problem. So if you're able to grow your audience, people that they're like, oh, I really like this guy, or you know what I mean, or I think this is funny, I want to be part of it. You know, that goes a long way. Because and that became so painfully obvious to me when I was in LA and I was trying to sell tickets to my movie, right, the premiere night. And I was like, holy cow, I got like about 150, 170 people to show up. And the theater was like 400 seats. So we kind of like broke even for the night. But like if I had 1,000, 2,000, 4,000 people that I could just reach that liked my work, right? Then I would fill the seat. I would fill every single seat. I will sell out.
Like,
that's why YouTube is so important, I think, for me.
Well, I guess the question is, if you are able to either modify the script to shoot it yourself,
yes,
or if you are able to secure funding and technical know-how to make it possible roughly as is, would you film that here? Yes.
In fact, it is meant to be filmed here.
Okay, why?
I can't tell you why, but I'll tell you straight. It's very much a Rhode Island story that has never been told. That's not like any other story in Rhode Island. It just isn't. But it has to do with some businesses that are here, and it's not about the mob. Everybody thinks about the mob. It's not about the mob. But there are some businesses that are here. They're unique to Rhode Island. You know.
Are you talking about gentlemen's clubs or
no? No. But you know what I mean. Like there is a charm here. You know, like there's a lot of good things here. You know. I don't like the cold. We shot in 12-degree weather. That was not good.
The worst. Yeah.
It's the worst. But you know, summer here is lovely. It really is. You know, that's why people come here to vacation from New York, you know, because it is nice.
So, I have two more big questions.
Big questions.
We can chat as much as you like, but these, for my purposes, I think these are these are important. One is, so we have a tax credit.
Yeah.
We have, which is great. It brings in the big people and theoretically independent films. We have infrastructure in place in terms of getting permissions to shoot, in terms of municipalities being roughly familiar with how the process should go. Are we in a good place right now? If you're an indie film director or producer, and you want to film it in Rhode Island, is this what is missing? And what could stand to be ruined if it becomes a really popular spot?
It'd be great if they called you back when you called them. That'd be number one. Because when I came here, that's one of the things I thought. I was like, well, maybe I'll see if I can get some credits for my documentary. But I was not able to get hold of the film office at all.
Interesting. Okay.
And you know, I figure here's the funny thing, because I thought, you know, the Stud Circle thing is supposed to be in Chicago. You can get them on the phone right now. Like right now, call them up.
The
they'll
Chicago
pick up the
Film
phone.
Office?
Yeah,
Right.
the Chicago
Okay.
Film Office picks up the phone right now. Rhode Island left a couple of messages, never heard back. So that's number one. I don't know what's going on with that. In my personal experiences as far as that, because that was my point. It's like, well, if I can get film credits and I can sell those credits, I could film this so much easier, right? It'd be so much faster, because then I can hire editors, I can hire a crew, we can really go all out and get it done. And that has not been my experience, and it's too bad. And I think two things are at play there. One of, and again, I could be speaking out of school, I don't know. But my understanding is that they have a limited amount of funds, and they want to disperse those funds to bigger corporations like Disney or Marvel that will 100% distribute the film, right? Because they're taking a gamble with a guy like me, right? It's a higher risk. Because, like, what if this guy drops off the face of the earth, he sells the credits, and there's no movie? And then they look bad because they gave money to somebody who's not going to do anything with it. So I think maybe it's a little bit of that, and then, I don't know, maybe the other part is politics, I don't know. I mean, I can't really speak to it. That has been my experience. And, I wish it was better, I wish there was, I went to some of the local groups here, like filmmaker groups. There were a few, and but yeah, I didn't see I didn't see that much support. Maybe that's the thing that I think that they need is they need to, if they want to foster that, then foster like some of the local guys, because I've seen your work. You're pretty talented. I mean, the thing you did with the
Thank you.
with the puppet there, I love that. It was really. I was going to tell you this. I wanted to watch before this again. It was very. It's a darling movie. First of all, it's very very heartwarming, and I liked it a lot. I think it's your best work.
Thank you.
I really do.
I appreciate it.
But like have them foster that. It would be great to have. Because it's like Rhode Islanders are not talented. That's not it at all.
Right.
It's just there are a fewer amount of people here, number one, so therefore there's a fewer amount of talented people. Mm-hmm. But there is talent. Like go to Hasbro, and you're going to see enormous talent there.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, the stuff they produce now, it's amazing. I'm a toy collector, so I know. But, and G.I. Joe, Transformers, like all these intellectual properties that they were able to develop, for better or for worse, they're worth a lot of money now. And they developed them here. So, Rhode Island should be proud of that. And there's other exports like my teacher and other Rhode Islanders that went to LA did well. So it's not like it's not a talent. Maybe it's like a lack of support.
Well, let me ask you this then, and this I think satisfies my curiosities for now.
Please do. It's what I live for, satisfying people's curiosities.
So technology has changed.
Yeah.
The industry has shifted. COVID has changed everything. And it's just an industry that changes exponentially every year, so that a student now at a local university, or say RISD or RIC or URI, who wants to be involved in film at any level, either to be a film actor, but more on the technical side, say a director, a producer, a cinematographer, whatever, they've done the studying, it's their senior year, they're getting ready for the next step. What would you tell them?
Oh man!
Now that you're broken in,
you're walking to a mess here.
What should they do? Should they do what you did?
Look, if you need me, anybody who needs me to motivate them to do anything, shouldn't do it. Go be something else. If you need motivation to do this, don't do it, because it's hard enough. And that fuel that comes has to come from inside. It has to be this mission that you have to do this. Otherwise you die. It has to be that black and white. It's that high risk. So if you need motivation to do this, don't do it, number one. Number two is that be very careful where you train or you study. Because I've seen some things that film teachers at universities call films that I don't know. I don't know who that's for. I don't know who thinks that's good. Maybe I don't know. Awful. Nobody in Hollywood cares what you went to school. In fact, it's almost like, unless you went to the American Film Institute or USC, all they care about is what can you do. Like, can you make this? Then you get the job. Can you act? Then you get the job. It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, I mean, I went to a good acting school, so like, people look at my resume, they're like, okay, well, let's get this guy in. Does it open some doors? Yeah, probably, but it doesn't get you the job. There are no guarantees. Like, this is such a high risk industry, it's such a high risk profession, right? That you gotta know the downsides of it going in. So if you're a student, I don't know, get some of that tuition money back and buy a camera. Honestly.
Well, okay, so that's...
I mean, like, because, if you're going to go... Here's the thing. Here's the biggest problem. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to go to film making school for 4 years, right? I'm going to come out with $250,000 of student loans that I can never write off. Do you know what kind of movie I can make for $250,000? Do you know what kind of equipment I can buy for $250,000? Do you know what kind of equipment I can buy for $10,000? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, and Tarantino didn't go to film school, right? There's a lot of people that didn't go to film school. You learn by doing it. Like, the information that they teach you in film school is available right now on YouTube. The only upside to film school or getting like a degree or whatever is that you make connections with other filmmakers, and those connections could be valuable. But at that point, it is a gamble, right? I'm paying $200,000 for 4 years to maybe meet somebody that I'm going to be able to work with. And you know what? For some people, that has paid off. For some people, that is the way. It wasn't for me. I mean, I didn't have that option. I didn't have the money to do it anyways.
So, say a 22-year-old then, who maybe went to film school, maybe took a class, but is ready and hungry to start venturing out. And I suppose it depends on the person a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's now the option and maybe a lot of incentives to just hunker down where you are and hone your craft.
And do it from where you are, yeah.
Versus the traditional...
Go out and do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And out is Southern California. Like, there is no other place.
Right.
Southern Californians do not see an industry or even universe outside of Southern California.
And that's the thing. If you make a movie in Rhode Island, right? I mean, if you're LA based and you're making a movie here, is one thing. But if it says like, oh, I'm a Rhode Island filmmaker, they'll shut the door in your face right away. Right. Get out of here.
So do you think there might
be... it's unjust. And it shouldn't be that way.
Right.
Because again, there are people who have talent that could do it. But it's just the way it is, right?
Do you think, though, that there could be a future to essentially microeconomies?
I'm betting on it.
In places like Rhode Island?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm betting on it.
All right.
Right? Because think about it. If we have... Let's say you build a YouTube channel here, right? And it grows, 1 million subscribers. Okay. You now can go anywhere in the world, right? The freedom that you have is like, okay, I want to film in Florida today. Okay. I want to film in Southern California. Okay. I want to film in Arizona. No problem. Right? So it doesn't matter. Your physical locations is starting to matter less and less. Especially for filmmakers, though. Because again, you can make the movie in the moon and sell it here and upload it to YouTube, right? So I think a lot of the problem is like we want to play the game like it was played last month or last year or back in the 50s, right? The game has changed. You're trying to shoot a plane. When you're trying to shoot something, like, you want to aim to where the thing is gonna be, not where the thing has been, right? This thing is not there anymore. So you're trying to shoot the plane over here, and the plane is already over there. You can build something here. Like one of the girls in the documentary that I'm doing, she's a huge YouTuber, And she's like, oh, I want to go to LA. I'm like, don't. People in LA she has like 600,000 subscribers. I'm like, people would kill their mother for 600,000 subscribers in LA. And you have this here. Like, there was no reason for you to go. If you want to go because you want to go, it's one thing, but don't go because you're going to get necessarily other advantages.
This is taking a turn for the violent with the shooting down planes at Matricide, but I see your point.
Right. So, the one thing I would say though is like the thing I miss, and I tell my guys a lot of the times, like, what I miss about being in the middle of it is that I could get actors so much faster and easier, right? I can get 10 actors in my house today if I needed in LA, and I can't do that here.
And people who are, as you say, very
trained,
motivated
ready to do it, they'll be on
actors,
time.
right?
Ask anybody, I go crazy when people are late. So like
it's hard to park around here.
I know. You're forgiven, my son. It's fine. But the problem is like, but you have people who really want to do this,
right?
As opposed to people who, again, not everybody here, but a good majority who just want to kind of, sort of, I want to try it. You know what I mean? I'm not really serious about it. So if they already have the infrastructure there for that. They have everything there for that. But I think that's starting to dwindle in a way. It's not going to go away completely. I don't think LA is ever going to stop because there are geographical advantages there, just like there are here. Like the weather there's always the same and it's always gorgeous. So you don't even have to worry about the weather. You just go shoot outside and you're fine.
But that's also less of a less prohibitive than it was in 1920 when you needed abundant light just to get an image, right?
I mean, these cameras now see in the dark, right?
Right.
I mean, so
and could be waterproof, and
we have waterproof. I mean, technology. My channel is I focus a lot on technology because that's what people are looking for, and that's what people need help with, right? So, and we didn't talk about YouTube, but like, YouTube is its own animal as far as the potential of it, the financial potential, but also the potential to grow an audience really stems from being able to ride the wave of things that are being searched, right? So people are not searching for me as much as I love to think they would be. They're not. They're searching for Sony. They're searching for Aperture. They're searching for Rode microphones. They're searching for these things, and then I'm there trying to do the best I can, to help them in the best way possible. And hopefully they'll like it and they'll stay. And as we become more narrative in our YouTube things, they'll be like, oh, I just want to see what Andre's saying today. Like, if I see you every day, what's love, right? Love, a lot of love is like, I see you every day, we interact, we have a good time, right? We have coffee together, we talk about whatever. You, my friend, I love you, man, right?
Cheers
to that. It's because we hang out all the time. Right. So like YouTube is the same thing, right? You once you become part of the lexicon of somebody's lives, like, oh, let's see what, there are podcasts that I listen because I just want to see what's going on today. Let me listen to that guy. YouTube is the same way. So there is a huge upside to that. So that's why I talk about technology, but it's really, I want to get them exposed to my work also.
Right.
So you can do that from anywhere now. But it would be nice to have access to, let's say, people who have 6 or 7 years of improv experience to be in a skit with me.
Right.
That would be amazing. Right. Or somebody who's like a DP for NBC, and then he's like, oh, I'm free today. I want to shoot this thing with you. Who has like 20 years of experience. It's a different thing. But whether you're here, whether you're there, you're just trading a set of problems for another set of problems. And I want to make this very clear, right? Because this is, I think if there's one thing that filmmakers need to understand is they need to understand that you're always going to have problems. Your success does not depend on you not having problems. Your success depends on how you overcome those problems, right? And how you push through that. Because you're always going to have a problem. In LA, we had to get a permit. We had to overcome that. We don't have a location. We have to pay for that. Here, okay, well, these guys are awesome. They gave us a location. we don't need to get permits to shoot out, but the weather is bad. So you're always trading one thing for the other, and that's something that, like, if I have to give a little bit of information, because here's the thing, I don't need to encourage anybody, but I also want to say that there are a lot of people who are hurting because this kind of thing that we do is so difficult, right? And to them, it's like, stick with it. The problems are part of it. If you have like 100 problems right now, you're probably going in the right direction, because there is resistance.
Right.
The doors are not going to open for you.
Right.
So you gotta go through them. And that's true with YouTube, that's true with acting, that's true with making a short film, that's true with every part of this. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, I don't know. But
Andre, this is perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for.
Well, I'm glad I was able to make one person's day better.
Absolutely.
And I know we probably coming up on time, but you asked me a question in the beginning. I said you had to warm me up, and this is what I believe. I don't believe in the divine, but I think there's something that is bigger than myself that told me, like, before I came to this world, it's like, I'm gonna put a spell on you, and if you choose to fight it, it will destroy you. It will bring you to such a dark place that you will never be able to get out. But if you embrace it, you will be hungry, you will be alone, but at the end, you will become unstoppable. And that's what filmmaking is for me.
You embraced the spell that was cast.
Right.
And it was hard.
Because if I don't, it will kill me.
Right. Wonderfully put.
Right. That's and that came to me like in a dream kind of thing. And that's
how a lot of artists describe why they got involved in it, because it was almost like a spiritual calling, right?
Right. You don't choose this life. It chooses you, and you fight it. And I think that's why it took me so long to do it, because being like an immigrant, right? You have some realities that you have to face here, survival things, that sometimes you can't take the leap necessarily. But I had a really close friend of mine who died very suddenly. She was actually the president of Rhode Island College at the time, vice president of Rhode Island College at the time. And she really pushed me to do this. And one day, we were having a conversation, and then she was gone the next day, And I was like, you know what? If I don't do this, why am I here? What's the point?
A very familiar sentiment.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, the people don't need to be motivated, because the people there's two kind of people that are going to watch this and be like, oh my God, that's so scary. These people are crazy, right? You're right, and you should do something else. But there are people that are going to watch this and be like, that's what I want.
Right on, exactly.
And those are the people that should. And there's nobody that can tell them that they shouldn't, because it doesn't matter. Make sense?
Absolutely. Perfect.
Well, sir.
What a blast.
What a blast.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Did you get anything useful out of it?